Today's signees are tomorrow's stars. Which freshmen from each SEC football signing class are poised to break out and become household names by the end of the 2024 season? Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Be sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that bell icon as well so you get notifications of when we drop new video content, which is each and every single day. You can also check out the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts at SEC Unfiltered. And of course, guys, we're all across social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. Wherever you get your content, SEC Unfiltered is there. In the spirit of National Signing Day, one freshman from each SEC football team that is not only set to just contribute and play early in their first year, but guys who are poised to become household names and stars in the Southeastern Conference by season's end. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive into it. We will start, and we'll do this in alphabetical order. So we will start with the Alabama Crimson Tide, and there's a long laundry list of great players to pick from, even after the transition from Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer, and some guys decommitting, some guys flipping, what have you. Ryan Williams was a big pickup in retaining him. There were some others as well. But for my money, guys, the freshman that I look at that I think is poised to have a breakout season for Alabama, five-star cornerback Zabian Brown. And as you can tell, guys, if you look at Bama's class, they stocked up on the defensive backs. 3 five-star cornerbacks or defensive backs, if you will, is what Alabama signed. But you look at Zabian Brown, 6 foot, 182 pounds, guys. He's got the makings of a true shutdown corner. You look at what Alabama lost last year. This was a position of need for them in the secondary, especially after you lost Caleb Downs to Ohio State. Zabian Brown, a 5-star. He was the 3rd-ranked player at his position nationally in the 2024 signing class, the 22nd-ranked player overall in the 24 class, and a 98 composite rating on 24/7 Sports. Zabian Brown, I think, is a guy we may be talking about at the end of the season. We talk who replaced Caleb Downs, who stepped up in that role. Zabian Brown very well could be that guy in the back end of the Alabama defense. For Arkansas, 4-star linebacker Bradley Shaw jumps off the page to me, guys. You look at his measurables from Hoover, Alabama, 5'11", 223 pounds. He was the 16th ranked player overall nationally at his position. And one of the reasons I went with Shaw, guys, he's not the top ranked player in the Arkansas signing class. But you look at the departure of Chris Paul Jr. over to Ole Miss. That is a position of need for the Arkansas defense. I think Bradley Shaw has an opportunity to emerge, to play early, to be an immediate impact contributor. Again, there's other guys like Selman Bridges in the defensive backfield and Charleston Collins up front. But I look at a Bradley Shaw. Somebody has to step up. Somebody has to emerge at that linebacker position. I think it could be Bradley Shaw for the Hogs early. We move to Auburn. This one is really, really easy. What was Auburn's biggest problem last year, guys? It was offense. What specifically in the offense? It was passing game. And I know many of us out there don't believe in Peyton Thorne, but you know what can help Peyton Thorne out a lot? Elite wide receiver play. And Auburn put an emphasis on that in this recruiting cycle, and they got that. And their breakout star, I think, guys, 5-star wide receiver Cam Coleman. This dude has the makings of not just a big-time player as a freshman, but a big-time player in the SEC at Auburn for the 3 to 4 years that he is there on the Plains. He was the top-rated signee of Auburn's 2024 signing class, 6'3", 180 pounds. He's a burner. He's got the size. He was the number 2 ranked wide receiver in the 2024 signing class, the 5th ranked overall player, a 99 5-star player on the 24/7 Sports composite out of Phoenix City, Alabama. Auburn held off a couple of teams to land Cam Coleman. This was arguably the biggest and best signing of Auburn's 24 class. I think Cam Coleman is going to be a star early on, and he's going to get tons of opportunities with Hugh Freeze calling the shots and calling the plays and there will be no excuse for Peyton Thorne not to flourish with a guy like Cam Coleman on the outside. We move to Florida. Now, Florida's 2024 signing class, guys, was really, really interesting because at one point, this is a top 5 class, and the Gators finished 11th overall. Not bad, but when you're third and you fall to 11th, right, it's sort of a bittersweet feeling, but still a lot of impact players. Now, most folks are going to look at Florida's class and say, oh, DJ Lagway is the guy. And if I was picking who's going to have the greatest impact over the next 3 to 4 years, well, then I would go DJ Lagway because I really do believe whether it's under Billy Napier or another head coach, DJ Lagway is the star of the future. He's the quarterback of the future for the Gators. He is going to most likely become the face of that Florida football program, assuming he doesn't leave or what have you. So I think DJ Lagway for the long haul is the pick. But the immediate impact guy, DJ Lagway is not really going to play, guys. Graham Mertz returns to Gainesville. He is going to be the starting quarterback. My attention goes to 5-star defensive lineman LJ McCray. Thought it was JJ there for a second. LJ McCray, from Daytona Beach, Florida, 6'4.5", 279 pounds, guys. He was the number 1 rated player at his position in the 2024 signing class, the 4th rated overall player in the 24 class. You win in the trenches in the Southeastern Conference. Where did Florida get gutted a lot last year? Up front on the defensive side. And Florida, I still don't think, guys, is going to be some offensive juggernaut in 2024. If they're going to overachieve, the defense has got to take a step forward. The defense has got to be better. You add players like LJ McCray. That was a huge win for Florida in the 2024 signing class, and I do think he's going to make an immediate impact. Is he going to be a day 1 starter? We'll see, but I think he'll be in that rotation early and often for the Florida Gators. To Georgia, and what a fantastic class, guys. The number 1 overall rated signing class for the Dogs. Again, there's a slew of great players to pick from that may make impacts as true freshmen. But for my money, I'm going with 5-star cornerback Ellis Robinson IV, the top-rated player in Georgia's class. And you look at where Georgia could use some help or want some guys to step up, it's in that secondary. It's in that defensive backfield. When you're as good as Georgia, you're cycling guys in and out. And here's the beauty of it, guys. Georgia's so deep, and they're so talented. Many of these guys will not have to play because Georgia's got experience practically everywhere. But Ellis Robinson IV, guys, 6'1", 185 pounds, out of Bradenton, Florida, IMG Academy, the number 1 overall rated defensive back, the number 2 rated player in the 2024 class. Guys, he's a 5-star. He's 100 grade on 24/7. You can't get better than that on the 24/7 Sports Composite. 100 grade, 5-star rating. I think Ellis Robinson IV, of all these freshmen, I think you're going to see him playing. I think you're going to see him playing a lot early. I could see this being a freshman All-American kind of guy. Ellis Robinson IV is the real deal for the Dogs. To Kentucky we go. I'm going with 4-star edge Brian Robinson. Again, guys, anytime you're adding those big-time players on the defensive front, those are some of your immediate impact players. Those are some of your most important signees. And normally when you're adding a big-time pass rusher or defensive lineman, you're expecting those guys to get on the field and make an impact early. I think that's going to be the case with Brian Robinson out of Westerville, Ohio. 6'5", 255 pounds, the 18th overall rated player at his position, at the edge position, a 95 overall in the 24/7 Sports Composite, and a 4-star player. I think Brian Robinson's going to slide right in on that defense for Mark Stoops. I think he's going to be a big-time player early on. I'm not saying he's going to be an All-American or anything, but I think of all these guys listed, I think Brian Robinson helps Kentucky up front immediately, and I think he will be a big-time impact player. They signed a couple, by the way. They signed a couple of big-time defensive linemen, edge players as well, guys. Their top 3 signees, defensive line on the interior, edge, and edge. So Mark Stoops revamping that defensive front in Lexington. To LSU, guys, and this is one that did not come in until today officially. LSU able to hold off some other suitors. 5-star defensive lineman Dominic McKinley out of Lafayette, Louisiana. And guys, this is a big one. There's a reason that Brian Kelly literally started his signing day presser celebrating the fact that LSU was able to hang on and sign Dominic McKinley, 6 foot 5.5 inches, 280 pounds. He's the 5th rated player at his position in the 24 class, the 18th overall rated player nationally in the 2024 signing class. And by the way, he's the number 1 rated player in the state of Louisiana, which is pivotal for any coach of LSU because the talent, guys, is so good. You can put together a top 25 roster at LSU. You could just throw a rock from Baton Rouge and hit a 4-star prospect, hit a 5-star prospect. You can build an NFL caliber D lineman recruiting just in a 15-mile radius of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So keeping a guy like Dominic McKinley home, it's massive for Brian Kelly. It's massive for LSU. And I think McKinley's going to be an immediate impact guy for the Bayou Bengals. To Mississippi State, as the Jeff Lebby era begins, I think bringing back high-flying offense to Starkville is going to be priority, and I think a guy that's going to make an immediate impact there, freshman, 4-star wide receiver, Mario Craver. And you look at his numbers, guys, from Pinson, Alabama, 5'11", 165. He is the top-rated signee in Mississippi State's class, the 42nd ranked player at the wide receiver position in the 24 signing class. But you look at the numbers. He's a burner. He's a speedster. Jeff Lebby, what do they want to do? They want to throw the football. They're going to throw the football a lot. I think Mario Craver is an immediate weapon for Jeff Lebby's offense. I think he'll make an immediate impact for the Bulldogs. You look at Ole Miss. You look at Mizzou. My apologies. You look at Mizzou. I'm getting out of order here. You look at the Missouri Tigers. And this one is very easy, by the way, guys. You look at Mizzou, what they're doing with NIL, the anonymous donation a couple days ago, over $60 million. But this signee, this was a win that took place a couple months ago, but a huge win for Missouri to keep the number 1 player in state home. And I think this is a dude immediately is going to be a force in Como on that defense. Williams Nwaneri, I believe I'm saying his last name correctly. Williams Nwaneri, Lee Summit, Missouri is where he hails from. 6 foot 6.5, 260 pounds. Again, the 2nd ranked player in the 2024 class at his position, the 6th rated player overall, and the number 1 rated player in the state of Missouri, the 5-star. Again, guys, this was a huge deal when Mizzou was able to land him. There was speculation he was going to go elsewhere. And I think it's just a sign, guys, of what Mizzou is building, right? They extend Eli Drinkwitz. You win 11 games. You beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. I mean, Missouri, they're putting the financial investment forward, taking care of NIL. This is a huge, huge win for the Missouri Tigers, and I think only going to help them push towards potentially being a college football playoff dark horse in the 2024 season. So I think Williams Nwaneri, I think he's going to make an immediate impact, be a big-time player on the defensive side for the Missouri Tigers. For Oklahoma, guys, 4-star offensive lineman, Eugene Brooks. Now, normally, you don't have offensive linemen as immediate impact guys. But, guys, when you look at what OU lost, they're going to have to reload somehow. And Eugene Brooks from Chatsworth, California is a great way to do so, guys. He's already SEC ready from the size standpoint. 6'4", 320 pounds. He was the 3rd overall rated player at his position in the 24 class, the 7th ranked player in the state of California, 73rd overall ranked player, which for an offensive lineman is not bad when you're talking about from the national perspective. There are other players that are going to be more noteworthy or get more recognition or get more accolades. But I think when you look at Oklahoma and you look at positions of need and you look at who they need to step up, I think Eugene Brooks is a guy that I think you're going to see play early. You're going to see play often. And I think he's going to be a standout for Oklahoma. I'm not saying he's not going to have his growing pains because it is the SEC and you do have to endure those growing pains as a freshman on the line of scrimmage. But I think Eugene Brooks is going to learn trial by fire. I think they're going to be better off for that. I think he's going to be a big-time impact guy for Oklahoma and a key piece of their offensive front this season. Now, we turn our attention to Ole Miss. This one's interesting, right? Because Ole Miss has done so much of their dirty work in the transfer portal, but still put together a respectable signing class, right? And I think their standout, 4-star defensive lineman, Camarion Franklin. And like I mentioned, guys, still the 17th overall rated class by 24/7 Sports, which, I mean, when you look at how much emphasis Ole Miss put on the portal, to still have a top 20 signing class is pretty good. And again, I think Camarion Franklin is going to be that breakout dude, right? Ole Miss did so much work on the defensive side of the football, adding talent, adding experience, adding guys that can help them immediately. I think Camarion Franklin's going to be another one, guys, coming over from Lake Cormorant. I'm butchering that, I think. Lake Cormorant, Mississippi. 6'5", 265 pounds, guys. He's the 4th rated player in the state of Mississippi, the 23rd rated overall player at the defensive line position, 137th rated overall player nationally in the 2024 signing class, a 4-star signee, a 94 overall on the 24/7 Sports composite. Camarion Franklin, Lane Kiffin talked about it, right, guys, after the Georgia game. We got to beef up our size. We got to beef up on the defensive front. I think Franklin is a guy, a mix of athleticism, size, speed, agility. I think you're obviously going to see him beef up and gain some weight sitting at 6'5", 265. But I think Franklin's going to be a legit dude for them. I think he makes an immediate impact on that Rebels defensive front. To South Carolina, this one's really, really easy, guys. Again, you talk about positions of need, right? And guys that'll have opportunities to shine early because of a lack of depth. South Carolina, defensive front, having a dominant edge presence has been a problem for them for years. And I think 5-star edge Dylan Stewart is going to be a guy that is going to emerge. He's going to play a ton early, and I think he's going to have an immediate impact on that Gamecocks defense. 6'5", 250 pounds. Guys, this was one of the biggest wins of the recruiting cycle, of the recruiting 2024 signing class, if you will. This was one of the biggest wins out there for a program that, Dylan Stewart could have gone anywhere. He had Ohio State, he had Georgia, you name it. He could have went to any top-tier program, and he chose South Carolina, coming out of the DMV, coming out of Washington, the 2nd-rated overall player at his position, at the edge position in the 24 class, the number 1 rated player from DC, number 1 rated player in the DMV, and the 19th overall rated player in the 2024 signing class. Guys, I think this is one, you look at South Carolina's class, they got a lot of great impact guys that are going to help them out, but don't overcomplicate this one. Dylan Stewart is the immediate impact freshman for South Carolina. I think he's going to play early. I think he's going to play often. It would not surprise me if he is a day 1 starter on that Gamecocks defense. And I think this is a dude that's got freshman All-SEC written all over him. To Tennessee we go. The Volunteers. Guys, I'm going to 5-star edge Jordan Ross, another big-time edge player, guys. And again, when you're talking SEC, what wins in the SEC, it's great pass rushers. It's having size and speed up front, in the middle, what have you. 6'4.5", 233 pounds. Jordan Ross, hailing from Birmingham, Alabama. So to go in the state of Alabama and land a 5-star player, take it from the Crimson Tide, from Auburn, from others, huge victory for Josh Heupel, the number 1 rated edge in the 2024 signing class, the 9th overall rated player in the 24 class, 3rd rated player in the state of Alabama. He's a 5-star. He's a 99 overall on the 24/7 Sports composite. I think Jordan Ross, right? We saw that Tennessee front 7 a year ago. So good, but Tyler Barron is gone. Some others have left. I think Jordan Ross fills in immediately. I think he will be an immediate impact player for Tennessee. I think he's going to make a big difference in that Vols front 7. For Texas, 5-star wide receiver Ryan Wingo. Again, guys, there's room there for a big-time receiver to emerge. Texas is losing a couple guys. Xavier Worthy, Jordan Whittington, those guys are off to the NFL. Who is going to step up? I think it is going to be the wide receiver Ryan Wingo out of St. Louis, Missouri. 6'1.5", 210 pounds, guys. The 7th rated wide receiver in the 2024 signing class. The 2nd rated player in the state of Missouri, of course, Mizzou landing the other one. But he's a 5-star on 24/7, 98 on the composite. And when you look at Texas, they're set up well for a guy like Wingo to come in and flourish and emerge. Worthy's gone. Whittington's gone. Some others are gone. Hey, somebody's got to step up. You've got Quinn Ewers at quarterback. You've got a high-quality offensive line. I think Ryan Wingo is going to be an early star in Austin, Texas, and I think he's going to flourish in Steve Sarkisian's offense. Texas A&M. Guys, this victory for A&M happened today. A huge win for Mike Elko as five-star cornerback Terry Bussey. A&M was able to hold off LSU. It looked like LSU was going to be able to flip the five-star defensive back out of Timpson, Texas. Texas A&M holds off LSU to land him 5'10.5", 180 pounds, the number one rated cornerback in the 2024 signing class, guys. The third rated player in the state of Texas, the 16th overall rated player in the 2024 signing class. Terry Bussey, guys, has all of the makings of a big-time defensive back, a big-time lockdown corner. And, guys, you think about, too, what this means for Mike Elko and the significance of beating out LSU. You just got to College Station. Huge recruiting victory for Mike Elko. Terry Bussey, I think, guys, as Texas A&M begins a new era, they look to rebuild. They look to reload. I think Terry Bussey immediately makes an impact. Will not be surprised if he's a day one starter for the Aggies. And, guys, finally, the Vanderbilt Commodores. I'm going with four-star safety Dante Carter, right? You look at his numbers, 6'1", 175 out of Chibolo, Texas. A four-star player, 93 overall on the 24/7 Sports Composite. The 9th overall rated safety in the 24 class, the 27th rated player in the state of Texas, and the 156th overall rated player in the 2024 signing class. So a nice win there for Vanderbilt, for Clark Lee. And, oh, by the way, guys, Dante Carter, he's going to have an opportunity to play early because that Vanderbilt defense was abysmal last year. So I think almost by default, not to undermine the signing or not to undermine Vandy, but I think almost by default, Dante Carter needs to be an immediate impact guy, and he's going to get those opportunities early, but a really talented kid. I do think Dante Carter will emerge and be a big-time defensive back in Nashville. So, guys, that's going to do it. Who do you think is going to emerge from your favorite team? A freshman specifically. Who's going to turn themselves into, from an unknown commodity, into a household name by season's end? Guys, again, thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Once again, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that bell icon as well so you get notifications of when we go live or when we drop new video content, which is each and every single day. Also, guys, check out the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Make sure you rate and subscribe there. And, guys, we're all across social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. SEC Unfiltered is there each and every single day. Guys, appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you all so much. Y'all have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you all again soon.